and that intro music was fire. Shout out to Dan for that one.
That was unexpected, man. I was hyping that.
I played that intro. I was like, Dan, let's go. I'm going to have to talk to him after this. But, hey, we're back for another year of March Madness, man. Another year of filling out those brackets. Another year of upsets, sleepers, Cinderella stories, number one seeded dominance. Who'll make the run toward a national championship this year? Who's going to bust your bracket? Which team are we pounding the table on? You know we're going to break it all down. We've got you through the round of 64, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, and the national championship. Of course, I'm your host, Dustin Saraceni, alongside my guys who produce incredible content over here at Oddspedia. We've got Alpha, who'll be making picks for us alongside all tournament long, and he's got his March Madness MVP piece. And we've got Matt Jacob, whose sleeper picks always get a ton of love. We've got 3 shows for you throughout the tournament, 1 more prior to Sweet 16, and then, of course, we'll come together one more time to break down the national championship. Fellas, that's enough for me. How are we feeling right now? Is there any matchup in the round of 64 that just gets your blood pumping? Let's get into it, man. I like this.
Man, that's a couple different questions there. How we doing was one question. And then immediately, who's our sleeper? Who's going to ruin everyone bracket? I'm doing great.
Who in round 64, what's the matchup that's got your blood pumping, man?
Yale.
I got a water bottle like I'm about to go in. I'm like, put me in, coach. Let's go.
I got a couple. I'll start the discussion here of what we're looking forward to. I think one's obvious. One that everyone's talking about is Kansas, Arkansas with the Self and Calipari matchup, and the winner's going to get Pitino in the second round. I mean, that's just an intriguing storyline of some legendary coaches. And we'll talk. Obviously, I think we'll end the show with Kansas and Arkansas, and we'll talk a little bit more about that matchup and my opinion of both those teams. But another one that I'm really, I mean, as soon as the lines came out, my eyes popped out of my head, and I keep looking at it, and we're going to talk more about this game too, and it's UC San Diego and Michigan. I am so intrigued by this game, and we'll get into it, but that's one of them. And another one I really like too, guys, is Drake in Missouri. You know, I think Drake is not getting a lot of love by the analytics folks, and we'll see if that proves to be true. Missouri is getting a lot of love. I love the Drake storyline, the Division II situation. I think it's really cool. I'm really pulling hard for them, and it's a tough matchup. Obviously, they got a bad draw for what they did in the regular season, I thought, but a good game nonetheless.
Absolutely. I'm with you, man. The UC San Diego team is just extremely fun to watch. As I was like going through each of our matchups and like capping them, like this team is going to be incredible to watch. I have them hopefully. I have them winning outright, but. Yeah, we'll get into that one. Alpha, how about you? Round of 64. What are you looking at?
Man, there's a lot of games I'm super excited about. This one is not one we're going over today, I believe, but Louisville-Creighton is a game that I absolutely love. Everyone take a look at the location of that game and how close it is to Louisville. It is essentially a home game for Louisville, so I think that is a massive advantage for them. Louisville did just have a player get announced to come back with their 13.5 points per game. I believe it's their starting point guard. So retooling the lineup, some big news there for them. And another matchup I absolutely love is going to be Yale versus Texas A&M. I have a lot to say about this Yale team. I have a lot to say about this UC San Diego team as well. So, Matt, I'm very excited to hear what you have to say about that, too.
Hey, I'm excited to hear what you have to say about Yale because I'm on the other side of that one.
Hey, we love a variety. What do we always say? We love a variety on the show. But, hey, we've got to get to our first 4 picks. But before then, you guys saw the governor. I think it was West Virginia governor.
Yeah.
Did he sue the NCAA, or was he in the middle of suing it, Alpha?
He's threatening it. He's threatening it. He's stating that he did. He had his press conference yesterday where he called the NCAA the National Corrupt Association. So that was pretty funny. But I mean, if we're going to dive into it, there's no shot that North Carolina deserves to be here.
No.
I mean, there's just no other way about it. Matt, I know we were talking about it earlier, how the UNC, I believe he's the athletic director, gets a $104,000 payout for UNC making it. Same guy is also the head of the chair. So very interesting stuff going on. I wanted to present this to you guys. What do you think about the NCAA hiring a commissioner? They need somebody who's not attached to one school, somebody whose full job is to be the commissioner of the NCAA and him being the head of the board, so we don't have another situation like we had today.
I mean, the Cardinals are what, 0-1 against tournament teams as
1
well?
And 1 in 12 quad 1.
Yeah, and they still got in. Like, obviously, that is blatantly corrupt, but regardless,
he was out of the room. Oh no, he recused himself. That happened. Oh
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
He wasn't at dinner or the bar the nights before, during, not saying anything about his team, nothing like that. No,
not at all.
All right, fellas. Well, let's get into it, man. We got a ton of things to get into. We got our futures plays. We got the round of 64. But before all that, we've got some games tonight, man. We got a first 4 game. We got Alabama State versus St. Francis. St. Francis is a +3.5 favorite. Alpha, where are you headed on this one, brother?
Man, I'm going to be going with the dog. It's not going to be an official play. It's not what I'm going to be putting out to my clients, but I do think the dog here does get it done. When you take a look at these two teams, St. Francis, they have been okay. They've done a good job. However, they've done a great job at covering. They don't have the greatest record, but they do have a very decent cover record, covering around 60% of their games. While on the other side, Alabama State is a -500 cover record, aka they've covered less games than they have covered. So to me, I'm going to take the team that's performed better all year plus the 3.5. But yet again, this is not one of my favorite plays that we're going to be going over today.
Yeah. How about you, Matt?
I echo the same thing about the favorite play. I'm just on the opposite side. I'm not going to pretend I know about Alabama State and St. Francis. I obviously
Wait,
did
we're
some
watching Alabama State games all
No, my service provider doesn't plug those games into my system. So.
Same here. Same here.
But I'll just point out, and you guys will hear about it a lot. You might get sick of it by the end of the show. I'm a big KenPom guy. I trust his ratings. I think he's astute at what he does. Also, the NCAA net, I think they're kind of mirror each other in a lot of ways. I think KenPom's a little stronger. I just look at the fact that these are obviously the 2 worst tournament teams by KenPom in the tournament. But 273 for Alabama State, and all the way down to 311 you get to for St. Francis. So I just think this is a situation. I think it could be a tight game late, but I do think that Alabama State they a little bit stronger of a conference. And obviously a lot better of an overall record than St. Francis had, so I trust in that. But again, it's not a big play.
Yeah, I'm with you guys here too. I mean, Alabama State's going to bring the pace here. They're ranked highly in tempo, but St. Francis, they have the team to keep this one close because every single night when I turn on that Alabama State game, it's a tight game. They're the 3-point shooting team, and almost have a top 100 field goal percentage. Give me SFU here to keep it close, and I'll take the points here. But
I'll point out one little fun trend if anybody out there is interested with the total. These two teams are combined 39, 23, and 1 to the over. So this could be a fast-paced, high-scoring game.
Yeah, I know Alabama State comes in and just tries to run you out of the gym. So hey, a lot of possessions.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke there. I'm an idiot. Alabama State's 20-12 and 1 to the under. St. Francis 19-11 to the over. I messed that up. So yeah. It's a contrast in styles.
That's what I get for just blindly agreeing with you. That's my fault.
Yep.
Well, let's move on. We got UNC, unbelievable team. We talked about it at the top of the show. For San Diego State at +3.5. Alpha, where are you headed for this one, bud?
Unfortunately, I'm taking the bad guy. Not every story ends in a Disney movie, and I do think that North Carolina is going to be the team that advances here. They're clearly the more talented team than San Diego State, and that's not to take anything away from San Diego State. They've had a great year. They're 21-9, but to me, they're a team that's kind of rebuilding right now. They've lost a lot of their guys. They've had some star power on this team, such as Matt Bradley, such as Jaden Leday, guys who have been on the team the last couple years that are no longer there, and they've had some great runs with those guys. But a lot of times after your stars do leave, it takes a couple years to rebuild and get back to the same level they've been at. However, they've done a great job. They're still competing. They're 21-9. They still got in, but they're going up against an ACC team that has far more talent than they have. RJ Davis should have a big game tonight. He's averaging 17 points per game. And on the other side for San Diego State, I just don't see how they're going to be able to score with North Carolina in this game. Nicholas Boyd is averaging 13.4 points per game, but they don't have that guy that they can give the ball to, dump it down low, and have him go get them 10 to 20 points. They don't really have that type of guy in their lineup this year, and I think North Carolina has too many shooters, too many guys who could put the ball in the basket to quite honestly lose this game. I think they're going to cover this game and win by around 10 points, around double digits.
And of course, if you want more plays, Alpha's all over this game. He's got 5 props for you over at Oddspedia Insights. Go take a look. He's on UNC. I'm going to stick with San Diego State. I think it'll be tighter than you think down the stretch, and I love getting points. If it's a +3.5, +4.5, whatever sportsbook you like to use, I'd go with the +4.5, obviously, if you are into San Diego State. Matt, where are you headed to, bud?
Well, guys know where my heart is here. I'm an Aztec. So I'm always going to be pulling for my boys. They haven't been very good this year, and especially down the stretch. And Alpha talked about their scoring, right? They can't score. They can't shoot free throws. We're back to this problem again, which always was a albatross around the Aztecs' neck for so long. And watching them in the Mountain West tournament, they just clunk and clunk and clunk, and down the stretch they weren't good. All that said, I'm taking 9.5. North Carolina is 9-3 in their last 12 games. You want to know who their 9 wins against? Wake Forest, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, Miami, Florida State, Virginia, NC State, Syracuse, and Pitt. Not a single NCAA tournament team among them. 3 losses, 2 to Duke, 1 at home and 1 in the AC tournament, and to Clemson by 20 points. Their last win against a tournament team was December 21st. They beat UCLA 79-74. It's their only win against tournament teams. They're 0-10 otherwise. You mentioned 1-12 against Quad 1. I will point out UNC is on an 8-1 ATS run after a 4-18 ATS slump. Talking about a money burner. This team was for a long time. But, I can't lay 4.5 points with a team that doesn't belong here. I mean, you can argue San Diego State doesn't belong. Boise State, as bad as they are in the NCAA tournament, beat SDSU twice, including in the Mountain West tournament, and made it all the way to the title game and didn't get in over the Aztecs. Yeah. I think even as an Aztec is a joke. But I'm taking the 4.5 here. I just think it's going to be closer. But I wouldn't be surprised if Alpha proves to be right with a 10-point win because the free throw thing could bite them. I think North Carolina can shoot from the line, so we'll see.
They can.
Yeah, we've got a couple more games here to get through. We've got St. Mary's at American U. Whoever wins this is going to go on to play Duke. So let's move along with this one. I got Mount St. Mary's. I mean, they've compiled a 21-12 against the spread record so far this season. American is 4-8 when playing at least 2.5 favorites this season, when playing as at least 2.5 favorites this season. So I'm going to head over and grab St. Mary's and the points. But like I said, this is almost like a charity game. These 4 games, they're going in to play Duke. Alabama State or St. Francis, they're going in to play Auburn. So yeah, it's only the calm before the storm for these guys. Who are you liking on this one, Alpha? St. Mary's and American U, brother.
I like Mount St. Mary's in this one to get it done. This is both these teams' Super Bowl. Let's be honest. Everybody knows. No offense to these teams. They've done a great job this year. They're not beating Duke. They're just not. And they probably won't even have to see Duke's best player in Cooper Flagg. But either way, neither of these teams have a realistic chance against Duke, as we kind of been saying. But in this one, I do think Mount St. Mary's gets it done. Adebayo has been fantastic for them. He's averaging 13.5 points per game, and he's also shooting 52% from the field. A good thing about Mount St. Mary's, again, that I like about them is that they are a very good free throw shooting team. And in these big games, I like to take teams that are clutch, guys who can knock down free throws, because we've all seen it. When the pressure elevates, when the game is on the line, and you send up guys that can't knock down a free throw, it's the quickest way to lose in March Madness. And I think we will see Mount St. Mary's shoot better from the line and get it done in this spot. But yet again, I do have to say it again, not one of my favorite plays of the opening round. We're going to be going over. I think I have 10 to 12 plays I absolutely love. This is not one that's going to be officially on my card, but we have a lot more we'll be going over that I absolutely love.
Maddie, how about you before we get into Texas Xavier? Who you on here?
I'll keep it quick. I'm going under 129.5 points. Mount St. Mary's 5 straight unders. Last 4 games, 112, 112, 120, and 114 points. They're 19, 12, and 2 to the under for the season. Americans 7 and 2 to the under in their last 9. They held 6 of those opponents under 63 points. I think the only threat here is overtime, and with the tight spread, that could be a problem. And usually see one of these first 4 games play an extra session that could kill us. But even then, we might stay under 130 because I don't see much in the way of offense, especially in a foreign arena like Dayton is, which those rims always seem to be hard anyway.
Yeah. Hey, last one, Texas versus Xavier. Maddie, I'll throw it back to you since you've dropped some player props pieces over at Oddspedia Insights. Who are you liking in this one before we move on with our upset alert?
I'm actually going the reverse. I just said those Dayton rims can be clanky, but I don't think it's an issue with 2 teams don't play much defense. I'm taking Texas and Xavier over 149.5 points. It's just a situation where both these teams run it up and down the floor, especially Xavier. Xavier's 10 and 2 to the over in their last 12. Texas is 12 and 1 to the over in their last 13. The only under was 148 points on 154 point total. So I just think it's a situation where we're going to see some points scored in this game. I really, really came close to laying it with Xavier. I just couldn't quite get there. But I do like Xavier's Ryan Conwell, as you see with my props. I've got 5 of them up in this game. I like him over 17.5 points. His last 5 games, 22-20, 21-21, and in the Big East tournament against Marquette, a career-high 38 points. Those are his last 5 games. So he's been on a roll scoring the basket. So I'll need Conwell to score to get that prop and to help with this over 149.5.
Yeah, I'm going to head on over and grab Xavier. They're just a better team across the board. I mean, field goal percentage, 3-pointers, 3-point percentage, assists, steals. And on the other side, Texas has turnover trouble as well. So I'm going to play Xavier minus 2.5 here. I'm actually going to play this one. The winner goes on to play Illinois here. Alpha, who are you liking in this matchup?
We have my favorite game that we're breaking down so far. This has a team that I have winning 2 games in March Madness. Not just this game. I have them winning the next game against Illinois. And that is the Texas Longhorns, boys.
Wow, look at this guy.
On the Xavier side. But this Texas team gets up for some big games. They've had some very impressive wins this year. They've beaten Texas A&M twice. They've beaten Mississippi State. They've beaten Kentucky. They've taken care of some very good teams that are ranked. They've beaten Missouri as well. So there's a lot of teams on their list that they have beaten. They've played significantly better competition all year long. I do know that Xavier is able to put points on the board. They do have Freemantle. He's a fantastic player, but I think Trey Johnson and this Texas team are going to come out shooting. They're going to come out scoring, and I like what I saw out of them in the SEC tournament. They played pretty well. They beat Vandy. They beat Texas A&M, another team that's a very high seed in this tournament, and then they lost to Tennessee. Nothing really wrong with losing to Tennessee. Not a really big fan of a lot of the Big East teams this year, guys. Going to be honest, there's only one or two teams that I think have a realistic chance to make a run in this tournament coming out of the Big East, so they didn't play the greatest competition all year long. I think Texas gets it done as they've played some very good teams all season long, and they have guys that can really fill it up and score in bunches, and I think we see that. Give me Texas outright. Give me the money line. I don't need the points in this game. I'm also taking Texas to beat Illinois outright when they play each other.
Did Matthew McConaughey pay you for this or what?
He should. He needs to give any sponsors out. I'm right here.
Hey, we'll very shortly get to why I really hope Alpha's wrong about this, but I will point out at least one 11 seed, one first four team, has won a first round game 13 of the last 14 years. So they not only win, so it's either the winner of North Carolina and San Diego State or the winner of Xavier, Texas. Odds are one of those two teams is going to go on and win a first-round game and get to at least play this weekend.
Boys, it's almost like you put together the perfect segue to our next segment. Good for us. I mean, we talk about these being charity games, but you said it, man. In reality, whoever moves on to take the 16 seed or 11 seed might just explode your entire bracket. You just alluded to that. I mean, last year we had the 14 seeded Oakland take down number 2 seed in Kentucky due to Jack Olke. Right. No idea who he is, but all of a sudden he's just shooting the lights out, man. And he got himself.
You know what he's doing now? He's giving out brackets. He's selling a bracket.
I
will say, I did see that's what he's doing. So good for him.
Absolute stud. What a hero that guy was, man.
Right. And remember another 11 seed that made a deep run. Johnny Juzang, Tiger Campbell, UCLA went on to win their playing game on the 11th seed.
North Carolina State just last year.
Yep. There's teams every single year that make these runs. 100%.
Yep. So 6 teams in the Final Four and 3 since 2018. So,
it's unreal.
So we'll get into those sleepers, but right now we're trying to avoid those landmines. We're trying to avoid those bust candidates, those higher seeds that are going to lose to these like 11 seeds, these 12 seeds. Hey, who knows, 16 seed. Matt, who's your biggest bust candidate of this year to watch out for? Which teams are you looking out for that could just blow up your entire bracket?
Well, it's not a surprise. Even though they almost killed me last year by finally making the Final Four. It's Tennessee. It's Rick Barnes. I don't trust him in March. And I don't trust Tennessee's old coach either. We'll talk about that later, which is Bruce Pearl. Auburn's great. They're loaded. I didn't like the way they played down the stretch at all. And I think that they're vulnerable too. But it's always going to be Tennessee as long as Rick Barnes is on the bench and until he gets to a Final Four. Now, blowing up the bracket, if they make the Elite Eight and don't get to the Final Four, I don't consider that necessarily blowing up your bracket. And they did that last year. They got very close to the Final Four, real close. But I don't trust it. I just don't trust them. And I think that team is a little bit flawed offensively. They play a game with a team that can put some points on. They could be in trouble.
I agree. Yeah. How about you, Alpha?
Man, I got one team. I have a couple teams I like to be sleepers, and I like them to knock off some big seeds. And one of the first ones I see going down, it's a team that is playing the Akron Zips. I think Arizona is a team I'm not going anywhere near. I know Akron is a plus 13.5, I believe currently. I have them winning that game outright. Akron is a scrappy, tough team, and I think that may be the big landmine we see early. Could be Akron taking them down. And the second team that I have being a bracket buster is not going to be a shock probably to anyone. That's going to be Purdue. Not a big fan of Purdue this year. If you're able to stop Kaufman Wren down low and you're able to stop Braden Smith, they really don't have much outside those two guys. And we've seen Purdue go on some terrible stretches this year where they just go cold. They lost to some very bad teams in the Big Ten, and I see them getting upset very early in this tournament. So yet again, I'll have to go with Purdue and Arizona as my two teams to avoid in the Big Dance.
Yeah, like for me, Matt kind of talked about it. I mean, Auburn, like, does losing the SEC tourney semifinal to Tennessee, who also went on to lose against Florida, does that kind of make you wary of their chances, or is that just kind of an anomaly for you guys?
I mean, Alpha, you have an opinion on that one? I think it's an anomaly.
Yeah, I think they still make a deep run. They got Janai Broom. They got the team to make a run, and one game isn't going to just make or break what they do in March. I mean, one game does make or break it, but I don't think that them losing the SEC tourney semifinal should have bracket makers. I guess we're all bracket makers now, wary of what they're going to be doing.
There's also the theory too, guys. It's one less game that they have to play, or two less games that they have to. Look at Alabama. Alabama was a number one overall 1 seed. My Aztecs knocked them out in the Sweet 16 2 years ago. Last year, they were a 4 seed, and they go all the way to the Final Four. They got knocked out of their conference tournament early, I believe, last year. So there's something to be said for maybe not playing those extra games if you're a really, really good team anyway. That helps you, when the rubber meets the road in the Elite Eight in the Final Four.
Yeah. And hey, shout out to Derek. He's typing in. He's saying, "I hear Houston's winning this year." I absolutely love Houston. We'll get into that. But thoughts on Duke, man? Is Cooper Flagg's gonna be back for their number 1 game, right? Their first round of 64 game.
No.
He's not back.
I don't believe he'll be playing in that game.
No?
I don't understand why he would be. It doesn't make any sense.
Makes no sense.
They're going to go through. I think they're going to make a deep run. Absolutely. I have them in my Final Four. I don't have them in my. I mean, I do. I don't have them in my final, but I have them in the Final Four. I think Flagg will be back at some point in the tournament. If it's not the round of 62, it'll probably be the round of 32.
I think it's round of 32. I think he comes back for the round of 32.
I mean, there was tweets out there that said he was, leaving the stadium in a wheelchair, and then 20 minutes later, he's back on the bench with his boys. So I think he'll be okay. I think Duke's going to make a big run. If you guys think the exact same thing, it's hard to say no, Duke's not going to make a run, right?
The other thing too is I think Duke, when all said and done, is going to end up with pretty much the easiest 8-9 winner also. So again, I think he suits up whether he plays. If you don't want to mess around. I mean, you don't. It's one and done. You don't want to mess around. I don't know why he would play. You just won the ACC tournament. You won 2 games without your best player, and you won the championship in a pretty decent, not a great conference this year. Maybe he plays the second game.
Yeah,
and gets pulled early. They get a big pull him early, that type of thing.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, Duke's got Mississippi State or Baylor next, and then probably one of. I don't know. Alpha doesn't like Arizona or Oregon. this guy's all over the Akron train.
That's great.
But, I absolutely love it. Hey, last time you didn't you have a big sleeper last year? Or was it?
Now, I want to ask him this question because now all of a sudden we started talking about. He talked about who he likes. That he likes Texas beating Illinois. I'm like, because Illinois is up there for me. I'm like, was that subconsciously in my head? Did you have Illinois last year? Was that the team you had making a big run?
You did. Yes,
sure,
you did.
I can't remember shit. And I just all of a sudden it just popped into my head. I'm like, what if when I was filling out my bracket, I probably had Alpha just in the back of my head last year talking about that.
Honestly,
man, I can't watch Terrence Shannon blow another game for Illinois again. I can't do it. I know he's not there anymore. I know he's on the T-Wolves in the NBA. But at the same time, man, that Illinois team, I watched them all year long.
So maybe that Texas kick is a little bit of just a little anger residual from last year.
I plead the fifth.
Didn't they really screw up his jersey retirement ceremony as well? And the jersey came
upside down. It was upside down.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, this show's gone off the rails. Let's get back on it. My bust, guys. It's not really a bust alert, but an upset alert for me. I think number 11 Drake over number 6 Missouri in the round of 64 could be going down.
Your upset alert's at 11-6?
I said it's not quite a bust alert. It's an upset alert. But I also think Auburn, I don't know. We'll see. And I also think UC San Diego over Michigan. But we'll get into that. But Drake are plus 225 underdogs in this matchup, man. It is a pretty big underdog. They're stingy on defense, 98.6 defensive rating, top 20 in the country. Drake's just a scary underdog, man. They were listed as underdog 6 times this year. And guess how many times they won those games outright? Every single time. Yep. They love being underestimated. They love being underappreciated. 6-0 in those situations when they're underdogs, man. They're led by Bennett Sturtz. I love that guy. I have Drake getting to the round of 32 at least, which will likely set them up with a date against Texas Tech, I believe. Watch for these guys as potential sleepers. I honestly think they could, book a little spot in the Sweet 16, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I heard. Are you guys on the Drake Bulldogs or not?
I am. I'm on Drake. I don't like the matchup at all. Like I said earlier, I just think it's a bad. They got a bad draw, and then they do pull that upset. They're probably catching Texas Tech, which is another difficult team. That whole bracket on the west side is to me it's brutal. And although I think Florida is going to come out of it, we'll talk about that. But I think it's just I really love St. John's. I wanted to pick St. John, but they're not going to beat Florida, and they might lose to Kansas in the second round. It's a weird path. I am on Drake. I wish I loved it more than I do, because I think it's just a tremendous story. I just think Missouri, we'll talk about it. We're going to get there.
Yeah, Drake will probably, pull Texas Tech, and then if they win that, then St. John's. But I think I have St. John's going deep, so I might not continue with the Drake slander. I might not continue with with Drake going deep if they're facing my boys in St. John's. All right, guys, March Madness MVP. I mean, we've got so many to choose from. Is there one guy that you think? I mean, speaking of St. John's, I'll just go while you guys gather your thoughts. I mean, RJ Lewis Jr., Big East Player of the Year. He's playing on a team, like I said, that I believe have a solid chance of making it to the Final Four. I think their Final Four odds are plus 600. They won their first Big East tournament title in 25 years under Pitino. He's just like a huge reason why. He dropped a 29-10 double-double in the final against Creighton. They dominated 82-66. I don't think anybody really came close to them in the tournament at all. I love St. John's this year, and if they make that deep run, RJ's a shoo-in for MVP, and those odds, I don't think there's MVP odds up right now, but he'll be a pretty deep long shot, because I think St. John's is like plus 3,400 to win the tournament right now.
Yep.
Matt, who's your guy to win MVP, brother?
Look, I mean, it's I don't know the last time a player from a team that didn't win the whole dang thing won the MVP. So I think you got to isolate there.
Yeah.
So it's chalky for me. It's chalky as chalk gets. It's Cooper Flagg of Duke, and it's Walter Clayton of Florida, Florida's best player, highest scoring player, because I like both those two teams to meet in the championship game, and that's where I would lean right now. Although we'll talk a little bit more about one at my Final Four sleeper, so I maybe should have looked a little bit deeper into that. I just don't think that sleeper is going to win it all. Just get to the Final Four, but not win the whole thing. So you gotta, if you're going to play ball in this market, you got to stick with the team you think is going to win it all.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Alpha, where are you headed?
I got a plus 8,000.
Plus 8,000.
I got a plus 80
to 1?
80 to 1. And that would be Jace Richardson.
Oh, yeah, you love that.
I love Jace Richardson out of Michigan State, and I know you have to pick a guy from a team you think can win it all. I think Michigan State does have a chance to win it all.
I think you're right.
Michigan State in the tournament this year. Yep. And Jace Richardson is that guy. He's the son of Jason Richardson, former NBA All-Star, was in the NBA, I believe, 15 years. This guy can flat out score. He's a true freshman who his numbers on the year aren't fantastic, because his first 2 months of the season, he wasn't great. But the last 2 months of the season, Jace Richardson has carried this Michigan State team. I think he can carry them to a championship, and that's exactly who I'm taking at plus 8,000. Michigan State, to me, has everything you need in a championship contender. They have a lot of guys with size. They have depth. They have shooters, and they have a very strong senior point guard in Holloman. So I think they have everything that they need to make a deep run. And if anyone on that team is going to bring home the award, it's going to be Jace Richardson, because he's going to be the guy who hits the big shots, takes the threes, attacks the rim, and gets them over the top. So give me Jace Richardson plus 8,000.
Fire me up. I think they're like plus 3,000 to win the whole thing. Aren't they? At least 3,100. Hey, perfect segue into our March Madness sleeper segment too, Alpha. It's like what's going on in the show or something.
Something like that.
Usually you don't. No, I'm kidding. We've talked about landmines to avoid in our brackets, man. We talked about Drake. We talked about Michigan State. But I'm going to throw it over to our resident sleeper expert. Yes, that's you, Matt. Who once, he publishes his sleeper piece. It always gets a ton of traction. So evidently, people want to know which teams are flying under the radar to potentially make a deep run in this tournament. I mean, this is where you make your money too. Last time we checked in, Matt, I think you liked Wisconsin, you liked St. John's, you like Drake and UC San Diego, which is going to be, I think, a sweetheart to watch. I think they're going to win a lot of better hearts over in this tournament. Which teams would you say are your top three? Why do you have such conviction there?
Yeah, so there's also two ways you need to look at sleepers. Are you talking sleepers to win it all? Because to me, frankly, St. John's and Michigan State are sleepers. They're both over 30 to 1 to win the title. To me, that's a sleeper. That qualifies as a sleeper. In Wisconsin, I think if Duke slips up, it could be to Wisconsin, or someone takes Duke out and Wisconsin has that path. They kind of just navigate their way there. So I like Wisconsin. I'd like Wisconsin to make the Final Four. And, this is going to be, I'm going to be talking out of both sides of my mouth, be that guy. Because I do have UC San Diego making the Sweet 16, but in my bracket, I've got them losing Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M is a really good team. So it's kind of one of those, I just think there's value there. Let's put it that way. There's value in UC San Diego making the Sweet 16, just as I think there's value in Drake making the Sweet 16 despite their difficult draw. Just based on, I guess you can look at it as take the money line of the first game against Missouri and parlay if you win the money line, or just roll it over to the money line against Texas Tech. Maybe you make some more money than betting them on just to make the Sweet 16 now. Always look at those things. They're important. But, St. John's is a team that I haven't understood. Alpha may be right about the Big East. I don't think they're a super strong conference, but what Pitino's done, they've lost 4 games by a total of 7 points.
Yes.
They swept UConn. They beat every good team that's in the Big East. I just really like St. John's. I just don't like their draw.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are loving St. John's right now. They do have a tough draw. If you look at it,
it's the worst draw. It's the worst draw for any 2 seed.
Yeah, they got to go straight up to Kansas or Arkansas, and then they got probably Texas Tech, and then I think they'll have Florida. Right? Yeah, it's Florida. Yeah, so
if they get to the Final Four, they will have freaking earned it. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Florida. Go if you watch the final between them and Tennessee, they just looked unbelievable, man. They look like a team that is almost destined to make a run here, right?
Yep.
So I know I love them. Sleepers for you, Alpha. Who you liking, brother?
So the way I do my sleepers are teams that I think could break some brackets, not teams that I think could actually win the entire thing. Of course, everyone has a chance, but my sleepers are more of the McNeese. I think McNeese is able to take out Clemson and make some noise there. So McNeese I have as one of my sleepers. And Yale, like I alluded to earlier, I absolutely love this Yale team. Maybe the most physical team in the entire tournament. When you get into a tournament, I like physicality. I like teams that'll throw their body against you and make you uncomfortable. And that's exactly what Yale does. So Yale's a team I think could make some noise. McNeese is a team I could definitely see making some noise. And then for a little bit of a higher seed, I'm all over St. John's as well. I unfortunately have them losing to Florida very late. I probably would have them beating a lot of the other 1 seeds, but unfortunately the Johnnies do have the worst draw of them all. I also like Wisconsin. As a Big Ten guy, you guys know I watch more Big Ten basketball than any other conference. It's my favorite to follow by far. Wisconsin in a very disappointing Big Ten tournament. Everybody knows that they didn't even make it to the championship. However, they're the best 3-point shooting team in the league. If they can get hot and hit their threes, they can hit threes from all over the court. Their center, Crowell, he can knock down some threes. Their guards are fantastic shooters, and this team absolutely lights it up. So I think Wisconsin could be a team that makes a big run as well.
Wisconsin actually got to the Big Ten title game. They just lost.
They lost that one. That's what I mean.
They didn't score. They scored like 50.
That was it. They just couldn't shoot. Thank you. They just could not do any. What was it? They had 21 points in the first half, something ridiculously bad.
Yeah. Hey, but when we talk about sleepers, it's not always about who's winning the national championship. There is value to be had across the board. Like getting these teams that go to the Sweet 16, go to the Elite 8, go to the Final Four. Like that's where you find your value. It's not all about if they're cutting down the net at the end of it, right? But it seems like all of us are on St. John's. I absolutely love St. John's. I love RJ Lewis. I love the coach. I love everything that they're doing over there. So I'm not going to take too much time there. But I also like Arizona, man. I think they just do a lot of things very well. Like their offensive rating, 13th in the nation. The defensive rating, 10th in the nation. They got Caleb Love, battle tested. I feel like he's been in college for like 10 years.
47th year in college basketball.
So almost 10 years. He was huge for UNC in 2022. He was a big part of their Final Four run. And he's still in 2025, still kicking around in Arizona. So this is that's some of the things you kind of need. You need players that have been there before. They're battle tested. Arizona lost the Big 12 title to Houston, who I have winning the entire tournament this year. They'll have to get past Duke in the Sweet 16. So you might want to, if you're sprinkling on Arizona, might want to do a little Sweet 16 just for them to land there. But who knows what that team will look like if Cooper Flagg can't go, or he probably will go. And if he does, is he or is he not going to be 100%? That's something to monitor as well. Arizona opened plus 4,000 to win the national championship. They've moved to plus 3,400. They're plus 750 to make the Final Four. I think around plus 600 or plus 500, to make the Elite 8. But yeah, I love me some Arizona Wildcats this year, man. They're a team, like I said, that does pretty much everything right on both ends of the floor. And I think that's kind of what you need if you want to make a deep run in March Madness, eh?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Also that started. There's several teams that were very highly rated at the beginning of the season and just stumbled out of the gate, but they kind of caught their footing and they finished strong. And that's an important component you want come March Madness time.
Yeah,
Matt, what do you think of Arizona? What do you think of Arizona?
I have Arizona going to the Elite Eight and losing to Duke.
Ooh, hey,
not
Alpha
what I
has
wanted to hear.
Alpha has
Not
the
what I wanted to hear.
But I can honestly, and I know you don't like Clemson. I could see them losing to Clemson. I mean, you know, that's a tough matchup. But I do think Dustin's point about Love. I mean, having those guys that have been there before is important. It's not the be all end all, but it's important. And again, I like the way Arizona played down the stretch. They ran through that Big 12 tournament, beat some decent teams. So yeah, I think that they can make a run. I wouldn't even be surprised if they beat Duke if they're playing that hot. But could they lose that first? But that's the nature of college basketball and college sport right now. Yeah. With everybody transfer portaling everywhere else, you really don't know what the hell's going on. Yep. And anything can happen. It opens the whole thing up. Now, all that being said, my bracket has basically it's got only one non-4 seed in the Elite Eight right now. So I still kind of went chalk, 3 number 1 seeds making the Final Four. I do think the top of the top is really good, but once you get past those first 8 teams, it's anybody.
Yeah, I think a lot of the I've been seeing on Twitter, a lot of the cappers they're saying this could be the chalkiest tournament ever. But as you said,
I hope not.
I know once you slide through those brackets, though, anything could happen. You always think that, and then all of a sudden, your bracket's just busted after 2 games.
I don't have a single 1 seed in the Final Four.
Oh, hello.
Hey, and we're about to get into the Final Four. This is fantastic. Look at this. We're the best segues in the game right here. Let's keep sliding our way through the brackets, or else the show's going to be 2 hours long. The most bet future, I mean, Final Four odds, national championship odds. It's part of what this tournament is all about, man. I absolutely love this tournament. It is just nonstop entertainment from beginning to end, man. But as of right now, Houston, I think, is the second favorite at plus 140. Duke's at minus 110. I'm on Houston there, obviously. Purdue at plus 170. Arizona at plus 340. And Tennessee at plus 300 to make the Final Four out of each region. Alpha, I know you got a little crazy with your brackets. Who's your Final Four? And let's get into it, brother.
Let's do it. All right. Pulling up my bracket here so I don't quote anything incorrectly. Final Four.
Wait a second here. Duke leads the Final Four odds at FanDuel at minus 135. That's my fault. UConn last year was minus 110. Auburn's minus 105. They're second. Houston in the Midwest is plus 130. And Florida, I was reading the last year. Shit, my bad. And Florida in the West at minus 125. So those are the top 4 Final Four odds right now. Alpha, hit us, brother.
I'm going to leak a lot of information here, unfortunately. But I have, on the left side of the bracket, I have Michigan State defeating St. John's in the Final Four. On the right side of the bracket, I have Alabama defeating Tennessee.
Alabama. Look at this guy. In
Somebody loves the SEC.
Somebody loves Mark Sears in big-time games and big-time moments. Mark Sears is another guy who feels like hasn't been in college for 47 years, who's done it all, who's been in the big moments, and can hit down a big shot. He doesn't have to have a lot of lanes. He doesn't have to have a lot of angles. He can get his shot off and score at any point in the game. And I think this Alabama team is very deep. So those are my 4. All 2 seeds in my Final Four.
Matt, where are you headed with your Final Four, brother?
Yeah, so I've got 2 1 seeds, not 3 actually. I've got Florida and Duke. Those are the 2 chalk. I would not bet them. I'd bet them to win the national title even at their current prices that aren't great, but I wouldn't bet them to make the Final Four. I don't like laying with me. Basically you're laying juice to win 4 games to get you there. So my other ones out of the South, I'm with you, Alpha. I'm on Michigan State. I'm buying that drinking that Izzo Kool-Aid again. At 30 to 1. It's a hell of a bet. And then my other team, again, I don't know why I don't believe in Houston. I don't know why. In fact, Houston won that Big 12 tournament, not Arizona. I don't know what I was thinking, but they did, and won it handily too. I got Illinois. Illinois, the Midwest. I'm coming a year after Alpha. If they get to the Final Four, he might fly to Vegas and beat me over the head with a club.
I'm flying out, bro. I am flying out if that does happen.
But I think that's a little bit more of an open bracket. I'm not knocking Houston. Their defense is amazing, but when you play a lot of defense, at some point you got to score. Houston's been a little bit better in the scoring department this year than they usually are, so that's a little plus for them. But I think Illinois is a little bit underseeded and underrated in my book. So I bet them that's my shocker. And let's be honest out there, guys, just to be full disclosure, none of my bomb Final Four teams I ever picked, they never get there. Ever. That's who I'm going.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm on Michigan State as one of my Final Four teams as well. So that we're
Well, none of us like Auburn. Nobody. We don't like Auburn.
Nobody picked Auburn. I think them losing the semifinal did something to my brain as I was putting through the brackets.
Right.
It's like maybe that entered my subconscious, but hey, if we're squad riding Michigan State boys, I absolutely love that.
Hell yeah.
My other three are Duke, St. John's, and Houston, who I have winning the entire thing, man. I was on them last year. They bowed out.
I was going to say it. I was waiting to jump in and say last year, me and Matt were anti-Houston the entire tournament when Dustin was so pro-Houston the entire tournament. And this year, Matt, I am if you are, I'm down to run it back because I am not high on Houston this year again.
Hey, I've already made the play.
It's a Kelvin Sampson thing for me, too. It's a Kelvin Sampson thing for me.
Houston's going to Houston. I say the same thing. When I look down and look at the teams, at the end of the day, it's still going to say Houston on their jersey.
I'll tell you another reason why I don't want Houston making a run. No offense, Dustin. I don't need any more mattress. I don't need any more mattress articles for 3 fucking weeks. I don't need that.
Wait, say that again.
I don't want 3 weeks of Mattress Mac articles, in my face and tweets.
Yeah.
I mean, at plus 135, I've made the play, so I can't back out of it now. I'm not cashing out. Houston, they ran through the Big 12 tournament. We talked about it. Colorado, they beat BYU by 20, then Arizona in the final. They come in, as usual, number 2 defense in the nation, according to KenPom, Matt's boy. 10 best offensive rating, top 5 shooting in the country to boot. They can score this year, which they couldn't really do that well last year. I mean, it was run through like LJ Cryer, Jamal Shead, who's like a Raptor legend at this point now. I think they just got the chip on their shoulder, man. That's a big thing for this team. They've come in with huge expectations over the last few years. They've yet to pass the Sweet 16. I think this is the year of the breakthrough, man. I believe so. On paper, they're led by a committee. 4 of their starting 5 are averaging double digits in points. Like I said, they lost Jamal Shead to the NBA. LJ Cryer is back, though. He's going to lead this team to glory. Give me Houston at plus 135. And as I said, man, we all love St. John's. They just got to get past Florida. We all love Duke, and we all love Michigan State.
Yep.
There we go.
Squad ride
Houston, otherwise known as Dustin's Dolphins.
Yes,
literally. Bro.
I was waiting for somebody to talk some shit about the Dolphins somehow. We're talking about March Madness, and now we're on the Dolphins. Dolphins.
Please not talk football. We can't do that. You know my team. Let's not talk football, please.
Yeah, didn't Saquon just get re-signed? Anyway.
All right, what is the next game we're going over?
Russell Wilson in blue. Look pretty good.
All right. Hey, actually, before we get into the round of 64 bets, which we have over 500 people here probably telling us to shut up and hurry up and get to the round of 64 bets. Who's your natty champion? Mine's obviously Houston. Alpha, who do you got winning the whole thing?
I already leaked it. Michigan State, baby.
Michigan State. So if we're all on Michigan State to at least make the Final Four, they're definitely losing in the first round.
Yeah, they're losing them all. They're not even making it to Thursday. They're going to lose somehow on Wednesday when there's no games. They're eliminated before we get to it.
Houston, Michigan State. Matt, who are you on?
Biggest square on the planet. Duke over Florida.
Duke over Florida. Hey, get some excitement over there, right?
I know.
So not fun, Matt. That's so not fun.
Yeah. All right, let's bring it all the way back. All right, we've got sleepers, first 4 picks, Final Four, national champs, bracket busters, whatever. We've done all of it. Let's bring it all the way back to the round of 64, to what the people came for. Let's talk our best bets. We got 8 games to cover, so let's fly, man. First up let's head over to the south. We got Michigan State, Alpha's Dogs versus Bryant. Tip-off is on Friday for this one. We got 84% of bets are on Bryant at plus 17.5. which is kind of crazy to me. 51% are on the over at 152. Alpha, I think I know where you're going, but go ahead. Take it away, brother.
I like the over in this spot. I just can't bet a minus 17.5, minus 18.5 for a Michigan State team that I think they're going to run away with it, but you know how these games go. Late in the game, this is the one game that Michigan State and Tom Izzo can put the bottom of the bench in. If they're up, let's say, 20 points, 3 minutes left, he can really empty his bench and get those guys some minutes in this tournament. I can see them getting backdoored, something like that. But I do think we will see a ton of points in this game. So I'm definitely going to be on the over here. Bryant's a team that can definitely score, and Bryant's a team that I don't think can stop Michigan State's big men from scoring. I don't think they'll be able to contain the perimeter either. And when you take a look at how Bryant has done in their most recent games, they scored 79 their last game, 91 the game before, 85 the game before, 90 the game before, 80 the game before. They could put up points. And then, yet again, Michigan State, my future champion, I don't think they're not going to be able to put points on the boards. So give me the over. Definitely a play I love in the first round.
Yeah, you're talking about how you hate these big spreads, so I figured you weren't going to take the spread. Matt, who are you liking in this game, brother?
That's a good play, Alpha, especially when you point out. I'll point out one more other thing. This was ages ago, 3.5 months ago, but they put up 77 on St. John's, too. They also gave up 99 So that was on December 11th. That was their only quad one game this year. I'm on Michigan State in the first half. I'm laying 9.5 in the first half. I just think just to mirror what Alpha said, these games come Thursday, Saturday, or Friday, Sunday. You got to rest guys when you can to get them ready for the next game. Yep. So, Michigan State, although I will point out 8-1 ATS run, 19-6-1 ATS in their last 26. That's for the full game Michigan State is. But I can't lay those kind of points. You got the number 8 KenPom against the number 149 KenPom. Michigan State should come out fast, furious, get up by 13 points in the first half, then push it to 20-25, and then let off the accelerator and just coast it on home from there.
Yeah, this game should be a fun game to watch, and I'm going to take the spread. I'm going to take the big one, man. We talked about, Michigan State defense here, ranked 5th in the country. I just don't know how Bryant's going to be able to, penetrate and score in this game. I think a lot of the public see this large of a spread and say there's no way Michigan State can cover this, but I think they will at the end of the game. They're going to be up 20, they're going to be up 25, and sure they're both going to empty their bench, but I also like Michigan State's bench better than Bryant's. So
that's very true.
Yeah, this Spartan team isn't Maine. It isn't Albany. Those are the teams Bryant is kind of used to playing in the American East tournament. Michigan State's a national powerhouse. They've won 8 of their last 9. I'm going to fake the public here. I'm taking the Spartans at -17.5. Like I said, man, it should be a fun game to watch. Let's keep it moving because we've got another game in the South. We've got Michigan, number 5 seeded Michigan. We got number 12, UC San Diego, one of our favorites. Tip-off is Thursday for this one. We got 72% of bets on the over at 142. It's kind of 50-50 split down the middle with Michigan favored by 2.5. Alpha, I'll go back to you. Who are you liking on this one?
I know Matt has a very big play on this game, or I know he likes one of these teams a lot, so I'm not going to go into too much depth, so I'll let him cover that team, but I am on UC San Diego in this one. I think the line tells you everything you need to know. It really does. UC San Diego is a fantastic team. They play very hard, and I'm not very high on this Michigan team. I know they just won the Big Ten tournament. That was fantastic for them. However, I watched this team all year long. Danny Wolf, their 7-foot transfer from Yale, I believe, can't shoot a free throw. If Vlad Golden isn't backing people down and not having some extreme success down low, and their shooters are also not great either, I don't see this Michigan team having a big performance here. I do see UCSD getting through and potentially even winning another game, but I don't want to steal Matt's thunder. I know he likes this team, so I'll let you get into it.
I'm all over UCC. I love them too. Matt, before I get into mine, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, it's the same, just what Alpha said. If the line tells you everything you know about this game, it's not that a 12-5 never happens. It happens. It actually happens less frequently than people think. It only happens about 35% of the time, maybe a little bit less. I looked up those numbers. So it's not, be careful with your 12-5 upsets. But how much of an upset is it when it's a 2.5-point spread?
Yeah.
UCSD, it's their first year of eligibility to make the Big West tournament. They roll through that. First year of eligibility to make the NCAA tournament. And they bring the longest winning streak in the nation into the tournament, 15-game winning streak. They haven't lost since January 18th, guys. That was an 85-81 loss at UC Irvine. It's the same UC Irvine that UCSD beat in the Big West tournament, 75-61, a day after hammering UC Santa Barbara 69-51 in the semifinals. So, look, they're also number 1 in the country in turnover margin.
I was just reading that in my notes right now.
Yeah, number 1 in the nation in turnover margin. And Michigan State is number 334. So think about that as you just kind of figure out how you want to handicap this game. The UCSD is also number 6 in the nation in scoring defense.
Yep.
So it's just a situation where I really like where these two teams are right now. Especially UCSD, they're playing with house money. Again, I like the situation. I think the odds tell you everything you need to know about this game being probably one of the best games of the first round.
Yep, I was just going to say that, man. I'm all over them too. And they're a team that just plays such stingy defense. They average close to 10 steals per game. And then on the other side, they rely heavily on three-point shooting. They're ranked 8th in the country, 10.8 made per game, 54th in three-point field goal percentage at 36.6%. They're just going to steal the ball from you. They're going to shoot their threes, and they're going to have some fun and run you off the court. I think this is going to be one of the, like you said, they're coming in riding a 15-game winning streak. They're playing with house money. No pressure on them whatsoever. No. I think this has all the makings of a huge upset. Well,
and let's not forget, Michigan just won the Big Ten tournament, and they're only a 2.5-point favorite against a team that wasn't even Division I 2 years ago.
Crazy.
And they're only a 5 seed. That tells you everything you need to know what the committee thinks about Michigan, what they're seeding in this tournament. How did they win the Big Ten tournament? beating all of these great Big Ten teams and get only a 5 seed? Well, that's because we saw them slip up throughout the regular season all year long. They didn't have it. They were good. They weren't great, and they had a lot of slip ups. So I think we kind of have a good read on this game.
Ali Afi comes in from YouTube, says, please announce the matches on the screen. The matches are on the screen right at the bottom, brother. Just make sure you take a look. All right, let's head on over.
Your eyes off of Alpha's pretty mug and look.
Yeah, he's way too good looking.
Oh,
move
yeah,
on
for sure.
over to the Midwest, all right? We've got Tennessee, number 2 seeded Tennessee versus number 15 Wofford. Tip-off here is Thursday for this one. 76% of bets are on Wofford at 18.5, plus 18.5. Another one of those big spreads that Alpha seemingly loves. 81% are on the over at 132. Alpha, let's start with you again, brother.
Tennessee's going to blow them out. This is the one big spread that I absolutely love. I mean, Wofford's a good story. They got the guy who shoots the underhand free throw, so everybody wait for that. It's granny-style free throw, so it's exciting. There is exciting
I knew there was a
action.
reason I wanted to cap this.
That's awesome.
There is some exciting action. But if
What's he
you
shoot?
watch this Wofford team, what do you mean?
What's his percentage?
Underhand. Oh, I have no idea.
I would want to be successful at it.
They did say he was good at it, but that's what they were talking about. They have been talking about the underhanded free throw. All you need to do is take a look at ESPN BPI and what they think of this game. They're giving Tennessee a 97% chance to win this game. They're giving Wofford a 3%. Tennessee's defense is fantastic. They're one of the best, if not the best defense, and I think they're going to absolutely shut down this Wofford offense. If I were to take a total in this game, I would definitely take the under. I know a lot of people, like you said, were on the over. I just don't see any way Wofford puts up big numbers against Tennessee's defense, and Tennessee's too big, too fast, too strong, and it's going to be maybe a theme for me that maybe I think the SEC conference is significantly better than all the other conferences, and that's also coming from a Big Ten guy. You may see that theme for me throughout this tournament. I think Tennessee absolutely rolls, and this will be the one game where we see a team win by 30+.
Yeah, I was honestly just going to say that. I have them by 20 here, and I'm taking Tennessee here as well. I mean, SEC newcomer of the year, Chaz Lanier, is just a bad man, too. He's going to feast in this matchup.
If they don't foul.
Exactly. Yeah, and the Vols have the 3rd best defense in the country per KenPom. Shout out, Matt. I just don't see, how Wofford keeps this one close whatsoever. You said 30. I have 20. Vols by 20 in my notes here, but I could see him by 30 easily. 30, 35. This one's probably going to be one of the more boring matches of the entire round of 64, in my opinion. Matt, where are you headed for this one, brother?
Yeah, you know how I feel about Rick Barnes, but not in this situation. I'm laying the big points, too, in this game. Now, if he loses this game, I may not stop laughing until July.
Yeah.
But look at Tennessee in opening round games as a number 2 or a number 3 seed under Rick Barnes. 73-47 over Wright State. That was a 3 versus 14. 77-70 over Colgate, 2 versus 15. So that was tight. 88-56 over Longwood, 3 versus 14. And 83-49 over St. Peter's last year at 2 versus 15. So they handled their business mostly 3 times out of 4 when in this spot. Wofford played 1 quad 1 game. They played Duke. They scored 35 points. They gave up 86 points back on November 16th. Long time ago, but still, if they scored 35 against Duke, I don't know how they're scoring more than 45 against Tennessee. So if Tennessee can put up 65, we're in good shape, and I don't see any problem doing that. So I'll lay the wood here, and we'll go anti-balls later on.
Matt, I do have the information on Mr. Filowich. He is the underhanded free throw shooter. He shoots at a whopping 43% from the line.
Give the people what they want.
Holy shit! What's he shoot when he shoots overhand? 18%, like me?
Yeah, I don't think you want to know. But right here, games played, 26 games started, 43% last year, 50%. Year before, 31%. So I'm assuming that 31% is when he couldn't get him in overhand.
That's crazy.
That is embarrassing, but I respect that for him.
I'm in for it.
To make that switch and still shoot 41%, respectful.
Right.
From one of the worst matchups, guys, to arguably what's going to be one of the best. I mean, we've got Gonzaga versus Georgia. I think a number 8 seed versus a number 9 seed. I think this is going to be one of the best matches in round of 64. Tip-off for this one is on Thursday as well. 54% of bets are on the over at 150. It's a split down the middle with Georgia at plus 5.5. Alpha, we'll go back to you, brother. Who are you liking on this one?
So this is one of the legs of my Thursday parlay. I have a 2-leg parlay, only one parlay for the Thursday slate, so I'll let it out now. I am on Gonzaga on the money line here. Not going to mess around with the points. I do think they win this game, but the spread does scare me a little bit. And the second leg for this parlay brings the parlay to a plus 110 odds is UCLA to defeat Utah State. I know a lot of people are all over Utah State, but I'm taking UCLA and Mick Cronin to get it done. So the two-leg parlay again is Gonzaga on the money line and UCLA. I just think Gonzaga is going to be able to get it done against this Georgia team. I know I said I love a lot of SEC teams in this tournament. I do, but I still like this Gonzaga team that has one of the best point guards in the nation, that has a coach that has gotten them there time and time again. They'll be ready. They'll be prepared, and they'll be able to defeat Georgia here. I just don't like the 6.5 point spread.
Alpha and two-leg parlays, name a better duo. I don't think you can. I don't think you can. I'm going with Zaga here. I love the depth that they're bringing to this matchup. They got Ike, Nembhard, Hickman, all seniors leading this team into another March Madness tourney. I talked about Caleb Love, how he's battle-tested. So are these guys, man. Yeah. All 5 starters are averaging double digits for Zaga, which makes sense. They score the second most points per game in the nation. They're averaging 86.6 points per game. I think you can see where I'm going with this one. I think Georgia doesn't really give me anything to write home about. Give me Gonzaga to win by at least 6 and move on to the round of 32. How about you, Matt? Where are you headed for this one, brother?
All right, here comes KenPom geekiness for you guys. You ready?
Love it.
Of the top 11 teams in KenPom's rankings, 10 of them earned a number 1, a number 2, or a number 3 seed. The only team that the only team that broke that streak, Gonzaga. They're an 8 seed, rated 9th by KenPom. They're rated 8th in NCAA net rankings. Gonzaga's got a better KenPom rating than Iowa State, which is 10, St. John's, which is 11, St. Mary's, which beat Gonzaga twice in the regular season before losing in the Big West Tournament Final, 22, and Georgia, 34. The next highest rated 8 seed after Gonzaga at 8 by KenPom, Louisville at 23, then Mississippi State at 32, then UConn at 35. There's some misseeding going on here, or KenPom is out of his mind excited about Gonzaga. I don't get it. You compare the other 9 seeds, to what Baylor's 29, Georgia's 34, Creighton's 37, OU is 38. So they're all kind of clumped together. But this 8 seed is like a complete off the radar situation. Also, Georgia since January 11th, they're 6-10. They did upset Florida at home. Otherwise, they beat South Carolina twice, LSU, Vanderbilt, which is a 10 seed, and Texas, which is playing in the first 4. So big whoop-de-doo. That Florida game is the outlier. This Gonzaga game, I would be surprised if they blow them out. Just if you really believe in KenPom, and if they don't win this game, something really went wacky with his ratings this year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so we're all on Zaga. I mean, you got to follow
one way or another.
You got to follow KenPom's. You got to follow Matt's boy right here.
Yeah,
I love KenPom too. Matt's right.
I couldn't believe that when I looked that up. I'm like, everyone was a 1, 2, or 3 seed, and the only one that isn't is an 8 seed.
Yeah, yeah.
Made no sense. I agree.
Pretty much when I capped for the show, I had KenPom up for every matchup. He is the absolute stud. Derek writes in. He says, "Whoever made their bracket before watching this are insane." Absolutely agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Appreciate that, bro.
We've got 630 people in here. They're just waiting for this show. Now, after the show, they're gonna go create their bracket. That's exactly what's happening. Let's head on over to another matchup, guys. We got 4 left. Let's head on over to the East. We got Alabama, number 2 seeded, taking on 15 number seeded Robert Morris. Tip-off is Friday for this one. 81% of bets are on Robert Morris. For some reason, the public, like I'm saying, man, they see the big spread. They're like, there's no way they're going to lose by 23. There's a way they're going to lose by 23. 54% are on the under at 165. Matt, we'll start with you here. Who are you liking?
Over 165.5. I don't care how big the number is.
Yeah.
Alabama's got the number 1 scoring offense in the country at 91.1 points per game. 4.5 points per game better than the next best team, which is the team we just talked about, Gonzaga. Robert Morris, in their last 7 games, they scored 89, 79, 83, 82, 72, 94, 76 points. They also gave up 87 points to West Virginia, their only quad 1 game, 85 to Green Bay, 84 to Ohio, 82 to Fort Wayne, Purdue, on and on and on we go. Last year, Alabama, in the SEC and the NCAA tournaments, they went 4-2 to the over, and the 4 overs were over, 3 of them were over 170 points with the number anyway. And then you look at the final 2 scores of their 2 SEC tournament games this year, 99-70, 104-82. Final scores of Alabama's first-round games the last 2 years, 96-75 against A&M Corpus Christi, 109-96 last year against College of Charleston. There's going to be points galore in this game, boys, and we're looking at about 180 when this thing's said and done.
See, that's why I actually, talk down on the public there because of the big spread. I'm with the public on this one. I actually like Robert Morris to cover this big spread, but you said it, man. There's going to be a ton of points. Alabama, like we talked about, they're going to run you out of the gym. They own the 4th best offensive rating in the nation. They average the most points in the country. They play the fastest tempo in the country. Mark Steers is an absolute menace. He's one of Alpha's picks to watch for March Madness MVP. Yep. But in tournament play, man, given Robert Morris's, tendency to play pretty damn well against the spread, they're 25-8 against the spread. I think they can keep this one within 23, especially with the amount of points that are going to be scored here. I think Alabama's going to cruise to a win, but if they win by 20, we cover. I'm taking Robert Morris and the massive spread. Give me those guys plus 23.5. Alpha, where are you headed?
Alabama team total over 94.5. I don't see.
You're taking Robert Morris right out of it.
I don't think Robert Morris is going to do much in this game offensively. I mean, they can because Alabama's defense is so bad. That's the one negative about Alabama. They have a negative defense. They could have nobody on the floor, and that defense would do better than how they do. I still love this Alabama team. Their offense is absolutely electric, and I just want to bet on their offense in this opening round. So over 94.5. I know it's an insane total, but Alabama averaged 91.5 points per game this year. Yeah, that was against competition that was significantly better than Robert Morris. So I think they're going to go over the 100-point mark. I think the total is going to hit 2 because I think Alabama could score 115 in this game. But my favorite play is by far the team total over 94.5.
That's how it was last year, too. Every time we talked about an Alabama game, we're like, Alabama's putting up 120. Yep. Alabama's putting up 130.
That's a crazy team total. Jeez.
Yeah, 94.5.
Wow. That's insane. Yeah, there's gonna be a 200.
But Matt, you read the scores from the last 2 opening games. I believe what you said. They went over comfortably on both of those too.
Yeah, they were. What did I say? They were 96 and 109. So yeah,
both over that 194 or 1.
Let's head on over to our last game of the East. We've got 2 more in the West. We've got an hour deep into the show, but hey, it's the round of 64. We knew we were going to be here late. Number 5, Oregon versus number 12, Liberty. Tip-off is late on Friday. I think this is the late game on Friday here. 82% of bets are on the over at 139. 61% of bets are on Oregon, minus 7.5. Matt, who you liking here, brother?
I'll keep this short and sweet. I'm taking Liberty plus the points in the first half. Taking plus 4 in the first half. Oregon's not a very good shooting team. Tied for 109th in scoring offense, 119th in field goal shooting, 179th in three-point shooting. Could see them get off to a slow start against a Liberty team that's top 20 nationally in three-point defense. They're 3rd. Scoring defense, they're tied for 10th. And field goal defense overall, they're 18th. They don't allow opponents shoot barely 40% against them for a game. So I think Liberty could be a little feisty here, especially early on. Yeah. Low-scoring first half. Take those 4 points. Keep it close. I wouldn't even be against taking a little money line Liberty action in the first half of this game.
What's the money line at? Plus, it's got to be plus 200 or something, plus 300.
In the first half?
Yeah, in the first, actually overall.
Yeah. Overall, I think it's like 200. I think first half probably like 140, 150, something like that. Yeah.
You love the first. I mean, the first half bets hit. I love making some cash in the first half. That's a great.
They're bet. Plus 250 Liberty on the money line.
Yeah, there you go. That makes sense. I'm gonna head on over. I'm gonna do Oregon. Minus 7.5. The only thing that scares me about this bet is Liberty's 3-point shooting. 3-point field goal, 3-point field goal percentage are both top 15 in the country. But I think where this game will be won is in the interior and on the glass, which Oregon absolutely excels at. They own like a massive size advantage too in this matchup with Nate Biddle. The guy's 7 foot, and no one comes close. I think on Liberty's side, he's just an absolute stud down there. I have a pretty hard time seeing how Liberty is going to be able to stop this man. He's just like I said, a menacing presence. 7 feet. He's averaging close to a double per game. I'm going to take my man Biddle and Oregon minus 7.5. Alpha, where are you headed, brother?
So this is another parlay for me. This is one of my Friday parlays, but I'm going to be taking Oregon on the money line. This is a 3-teamer. It's my only 3-teamer. I normally do 2-teamers only, but for this one, I just can't fade Dana Altman. I don't know if they cover the spread, but I think Dana Altman gets his Oregon team to win this game outright, and that's exactly what I'm playing. Liberty should come out fast. I agree with Matt, absolutely. But in the second half, I think Dana Altman will make adjustments. This team will be ready to go, and they will have a fantastic game. So that parlay is going to be a minus 120. It's Maryland money line, Kentucky money line, and Oregon money line. So I'll let that out early as well. That is my Friday parlay that I am on.
I'm sure you'll be posting that on Twitter as well, right?
It'll be there. 100%.
Hey, shout out Derek. Another Derek, actually. There's 2 Dereks in the chat. Should I ride Bama to win it all? Hey, we love Bama here. They just can't play defense. They're going to put up a ton of points. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch.
They're in my Final Four, bro.
Yeah, if you want to throw Bama in your Final Four, hell, to win the national championship,
I have them in my championship. Losing to Michigan State, but I have them making it.
Yep. And hey, Dre D'Angelo, shout out you from YouTube. I like first half money line on Liberty. He's right there with you, Matt. I think that's a pretty good bet, to be honest. They are going to be feisty. I think that's what you said, Matt. They're going to be a feisty team. They are going to be one to watch. It's going to be a tight one between Liberty and Oregon, in my opinion. Again, Dre D'Angelo, thank you. I think the only kind of have to be made with Liberty is taking the first bet in the first half. Hey, you and Matt need to get together more often.
I like that, though.
Check in the mail. Checks in the mail.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's head on over to the West. We got 2 games left, fellas.
Well,
number 4 seeded Maryland versus number 13 Grand Canyon. Tip-off is on Friday again for this one. 69% of bets are on Grand Canyon at plus 10.5. 52% are on the over at 150. Alpha, take it away, brother.
This was one of the teams I just gave out in that 3-team parlay. Maryland is the second leg of that parlay, so I definitely think they're going to win this game. On the spread, I don't mind taking the Lopes. I do think the Grand Canyon Antelopes are a feisty, talented team. I don't see any way they win this game, though. So I am taking the money line, like I said, at that 3-team parlay. Yeah. But if I were to pick a spread in this game, it would definitely be Grand Canyon to cover the double-digit spread. I think Maryland wins in that 5 to 10-point range. They have Derek Queen down low. He's a fantastic player, the true freshman. I don't see anybody in Grand Canyon being able to slow him down.
And just in case you guys are watching this show, this is live right now, but of course it's going to stick on Oddspedia US Twitter handle. And if you just want the picks, we will all be tweeting out picks throughout the tournament. So stay tuned to our Twitter handles as well. You can find them on Oddspedia US Twitter account. Matt, where are you headed between Maryland and Grand Canyon, brother?
I'm going to go opposite what Alpha just said. I am going to lay the points with Maryland. I think Maryland might be one of the most underrated teams in the country.
They're good.
And I'll explain why. They've lost 8 games this year, not a single one by more than 6 points. Wow. And half of those 8 losses were by 3 points or less. The common denominator in their losses was sloppy defense. They gave up 73 points or more in 7 of the 8 defeats, including 80 points 3 times. And Grand Canyon can fill the bucket against WAC teams. Yeah. They faced 2 notable opponents in their schedule. The 2 best opponents on their schedule were Arizona State and Georgia. They lost 87-76 to the Sun Devils and 73-68 to the Bulldogs. Arizona State 75th in adjusted defensive efficiency per Ken Palm. Georgia's 26th. Maryland is 6th.
Yeah.
So it's a different beast that they're facing here, and I just think that I think Maryland. I think it could be a tight about 15-minute mark of the second half. Maryland kind of pulls away and gets the job done against the Grand Canyon team that doesn't go real deep. So again, a foul trouble could be a problem for them too.
Yeah, you said it, Matt. I mean, I'm on Maryland as well, minus 10.5. I think they just have, there's just too many ways for them to win this game. Their defense, you said, ranked 6th nationally per KenPom. They can dominate the 3-point line versus Grand Canyon. They're ranked 32nd nationally in 3-point field goal percentage. Grand Canyon turns the ball over a ton. Those turnover numbers concern me on that side. Like I said, too many ways for Maryland to win this one. I think it'll be close near the end, maybe at 8-10, but Maryland's going to pull away with about 2 minutes left. They're going to win by 15 here. Give me Maryland minus 10.5.
That'll make me happy. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Hey, last game, fellas. We've done it. We've over an hour show. Absolutely entertaining from second 1 to hour and 9 minutes in. 715 people in here rocking with us. We appreciate you guys. We're going to head over to Kansas, number 7 Kansas versus number 10 Arkansas. Tip-off is Thursday for this one. 70% of bets right now are on the over at 145.5. 69% are on plus 4.5, and that's Arkansas. Matt, where are you headed for this one, brother?
I'm with the 77% that are on the over in this game. I don't like this game sidewise either way. Kansas. Watch Kansas go to the Elite Eight just because.
No chance. No.
I know. But I'm just saying, it's just like this team has been underachieving all season long. Calipari in March has been just awful lately. I just don't trust either one of these teams. But I don't trust them to play defense, and I expect them to fill the bucket. Arkansas's last 5 games against NCAA tournament teams: 83-80 Ole Miss, 93-92 Mississippi State, 90-77 Vanderbilt, 86-81 in overtime against Texas, 92-85 against Missouri. They also 91-85 against Bama on February 8th and 89-79 against Kentucky. It's tons of high-scoring games. Kansas versus NCAA tournament teams just this month, 88-77 Arizona, 83-76 Arizona again. The Houston game was low-scoring, but they also played Houston 92-86 in double overtime earlier in the year. On and on we go. 98-94 in overtime against UCF. Kansas 6-2 over their last 8. Arkansas 6-1 over their last 7. Give me this one in about the low 150s before it's all said and done. Wouldn't be surprised to see this one go to overtime and get you there too.
Alpha, where are you headed, brother?
Matt, we are lock and key on this one, brother. I love the over in this game, and let me tell you something. Kansas, doesn't matter. I hate both these teams. Both these teams have absolutely been awful to watch this year. I don't know who had Arkansas. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But if you watch them in the SEC tournament, they had the game against South Carolina. I believe it was in the first round. They were up in that game by 25 points. They went 12 game minutes without a point. Let me reiterate. No free throws. 12 game minutes without a point.
That's
against
awful.
A team that went 2-18 in conference. Arkansas, to me, has been a major disappointment all year. I know they have Coach Cal over there. I don't think they've done a great job. On the other side, we have Hunter Dickinson, who's there for Kansas. He's been there for 77 years. Hunter Dickinson's been in college for 77 years. He should be a veteran. This team should have been so much better than they were this year. They have talent. They have coaching, but they've been a disappointment all year long. Neither team can play defense, and that's exactly why I'm taking the over here. When you take a look at their most recent performances, Kansas 88-77 game against Arizona, 98-94 game against UCF, another 83-76 game against Arizona. They play some very high-scoring games. Arkansas on the other end, when they don't go 12 minutes without a bucket, they do have some big scoring games. 93-92 against Mississippi State. 90-77 against Vanderbilt. I think we see a high-scoring game here, but like Matt, I don't like a side. I don't have any lean on either side here. I hate both teams. I think they're both awful teams, and I think this game goes well over the total.
I love that play. I mean, the over seems like the solid play here. I'm just going to be devil's advocate here. I'm taking Razorbacks plus 4.5, and for one reason, man. Boogie Fland, he's coming back, man. This is going to be his first game. I think he's missed 15 games for Arkansas. He dropped 22 on Kansas already this year. He's back. He's going to take them forward to the round of 32. Give me the Razorbacks at plus 4.5. And hey, March Madness is just beginning, guys. Take a look at the odds right now. Live odds for these guys. We got the top 10 teams right there. Who is your best pick? Who will take home the Natty Championship? Let's find out. Hey, I appreciate you. Absolutely. Time will tell. I appreciate you guys coming in. As always, Alpha and Matt, you guys are two absolute studs. We'll be back for the Sweet 16. We'll be back for the National Championship. Hey, thanks for sticking around. We have, how many? 800 people in here with us. We appreciate you guys sticking around for over an hour. Remember, whether you tail us or fade us, we still love you. Like I said, 2 more shows coming your way, one before Sweet 16, and we'll be back to break down the National Championship. Good luck in the round of 64, everybody. Let's win some money.
Thanks for listening to us, Big Bags. Thanks for hanging in there.